Oh, you're back.
Hello again, guys. Rebel here. I am back with Chef Sean. We are finishing what we can right now of the stew. Chef Sean, let me bring the camera right over, is currently prepping some more for the stew, and then we are going to start on the one pasta. It is similar to one that someone very close to my heart prepared for me in the past. I'm not going to say who that person was, but I will be honest and say that it is actually pretty sentimental to me. So, we're going to go ahead and get started. Let me put the camera down, and we'll go from there.
So, as far as the extra prep, I pulled the rabbit out. It was fork tender to the point where it fell apart as I pulled it out. We're letting that rest. And I am now throwing a couple different kinds of mushrooms into the stock, despite somebody not liking mushrooms.
He's picking on me. I can't help it.
It adds generally to the umami and the mouthfeel, because rabbit is it's very lean as a meat, and which means there's not a lot of fat, which means there's not going to be that much flavor. So we have simmered down to get the rabbit flavor in, and then adding a little bit of mushroom and a couple other things are going to bring up the mouthfeel to get just a better flavor overall, without necessarily overpowering the flavor of the rabbit. Now, as far as the other bits, after a misstep, because ShopRite apparently sells rancid food to people, we got decently fresh shrimp, properly fresh, real shrimp, and
for it to smell bad and like a crick, literally, I was ready to throw up.
It was really bad, so we had to make a run. But now we actually have, like, decent, nice shrimp. So Rebel here is going to deshell and detail the shrimp while I start cutting the basil and the what else was it? Oh, right. Parsley. The basil and the parsley, and then I've got the oregano and the spinach in the fridge. And we've already used a food processor to cut down the garlic, because little bits that we can do to make it easier are always good, and there's no shame in using a food processor, because cutting up the amount of garlic we wanted to would just have taken way too long. So
just don't be like me with what I did earlier. First time I ever tried this, I actually ate one of these small things whole, and I felt sick. And first time I've ever done it in my life. As he explained to me, how was it? The acid?
It's both garlic and onions have sulfuric acid in it, and like taking a bite out of an onion, probably not the greatest idea ever.
Yeah, but I've done that.
And garlic is just a little bit more so, to the point where, did it feel burny? Did it burn a little bit? It
in
did,
my
yeah.
mouth.
Yeah, that happens. So probably don't do that then.
I had never done that before, ever, so I was like, oh my god, because as soon as I got to my stomach, forget it. I actually had to take a bathroom break just to make sure, because don't mind me, I don't want to get sick while I'm cooking, so I want to enjoy my food.
So, for the shrimp dish with the basil and everything else.
Like that, right?
Well, that guy should be on there. But otherwise, perfect.
Okay. No, just making sure.
No, you're good. Yeah, just go through them. Do you need another bowl for them?
Yeah, I'd rather do that. Just in case
you can separate what you're doing? Not a problem. So, I happen to be at 99 Ranch Market, which is, in my area, one of the better Asian markets. And rather than going and getting just fettuccine from like a ShopRite or a Publix or wherever it is you're coming from, I actually got fresh fettuccine, because it's just, why not use fresh? Always better.
Duh.
Of course, this bag is just... It says pull here, and all the bits come off, and then it goes open. So.
Like, I know I'm not a professional, but when he says fresh, that's why I'm like, duh. We already dealt with a little bit of stale ingredients tonight.
You know what? I'm going to take a look at that. There we go. So,
Again, he has no filter.
so yeah, this is actually, it's from the Asian market, so, you know, is, Chinese noodle. It's still fettuccine. It's still made the same way. It just comes from a different country. And you get things like this, they still, you know, they'll actually give you the...
Well, why don't you show them without it being in the bag? That way they understand.
Fettuccine. You've seen fettuccine. This is actually fresh fettuccine. It's pliable. Needs to be refrigerated. You know, you only keep it for a certain amount of time. It's not dried out the same way that you would get normal, actually dried pasta. And it gives you little instructions. Boil approximately 3 liters of water in a pot. Separate noodles and boil them for 2 minutes and 20 seconds. So, I'm going to wait for you to be done, because right after we boil, we have to put it in cold water to make sure it doesn't overcook, and then we can start doing the other bits.
Okay.
So, take your time. No worries. I'll wait. And they're waiting.
Well, he can ask me random questions to keep it going. That way we're not sitting here for a good while.
I don't know. I thought it was kind of funny.
I know.
Then again, I think everything is kind of funny. So
Yeah, I know.
Alright, so we're gonna do the. I'm just gonna put cold water in here so we have it ready for the pasta.
Yeah.
Because then I can just put the pasta in while you're still doing that.
Because the chef here is being a smart ass and picking on me, but I can handle him.
I'm just. Anybody who knows anybody who works in the kitchen, we're all smartasses. How we are. So, typically, ice is also a really good thing to put into the water, but I don't have an ice maker. So, we're not using ice. We're just going to use the coldest water we have possible, which happens to be from the tap. Alright.
And yes, my OCD is slightly kicking in with the shrimps. Don't get on my ass.
No, you're good. Take your time. We've got all the time in the world.
No, we don't.
Are you sure?
Yes, we don't have all the time in the world. We both got lives to live.
I've got naught else to do.
You didn't know what I mean, you slick.
Mm.
I'm just making sure I do this properly because I'm the one who's learning.
Mm-hmm.
Mr. Experience.
What do you think? You're doing great. You're doing great. I promise.
So I don't want to put all the shells in with the other shrimp and screw something up.
Just put the shells back in the bowl and stop running back and forth to the garbage.
It's easier for me to do it like this, Chef.
There you go. Work smarter, not harder. Yeah, I said it.
Yeah, and I said I to the camera.
No asides to the camera.
Huh?
I said no asides to the camera.
I already did.
Yeah, I noticed. So while she's over there taking her very, very sweet time to do the shrimps, what I'm doing is I've thrown the fresh fettuccine into the boiling water, and I am making sure to stir it so that all of it gets cooked properly together.
Did you have to add salt or anything?
I already added salt.
Okay, I didn't know. That's what I'm asking.
Word to the wise, really when cooking anything in boiling water, salt adds flavor. So whether you're going to be blanching broccoli or boiling down pasta or anything else.
And I boiled quite a few things before.
And a fun fact, a trick to any restaurant you'll ever go to, when it says onions, use shallots. And salt and butter are pretty much in everything. So, you know, like I said, we don't have shallots. We're using red onions. We're actually going to do a home cooking method for this. Shallots are wonderful. Slightly more expensive, but they're basically a sweeter, slightly less, not flavorful, I wouldn't say, but like slightly less of a whatever of red onions. Red onions have a more powerful flavor to them. a little more sulfur to them.
Well, curious, you said the shots, depending on where you go, is it all places, or do you know places that are cheaper for the viewers?
Well, farmers markets are always going to net you.
Because we don't.
Things are always going to be cheaper at farmers markets. ShopRite is great, and a lot of ShopRites generally try to use local produce as a just a company policy. But if you live in an area where you know there's farmers markets, you can get things, I would always recommend going there. It's going to be cheaper, you can bargain with people, and you're always going to get a fresher, better product. You've seen driving into my area how many farmers markets and all these wonderful things are out there, and I said always go to those places.
Yeah.
They're always going to be better.
And I'm messing with these.
That's just always going to be the better policy, if you can. If you don't have it, and then what you have is like a ShopRite or a Publix or something like that, by all means, still use that. I mean, it's going to be pretty much the exact same thing. It's just, you're going to get a better product, probably cheaper. And if you're buying it anywhere near in bulk, or you can talk to somebody at a stand, you can probably get something slightly cheaper, and you can talk to them. They know their product. It's always going to be better at that. There's been a huge movement in restaurants to do the whole thing where they go local and try to source out everything they possibly can. And I fully agree with it. It's always going to be a better thing. But, not everybody can do it. It's not everywhere.
Just like certain ingredients aren't everywhere.
Exactly.
I know.
So let's see what we got here.
And do you need me after this to right away clean this bowl, or no?
We can put it aside for now and clean it all afterwards.
Okay. No, just making sure. Just because, to me, make it easier.
Mm-hmm. Completely understood.
They've already seen me do dishes on one other episode.
Oh, no, we will do dishes. If you really want to show that.
No, I just chose to do it because I had to wait for the food to cook.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. So we'll turn that off.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I'm going to have
And I'm pasta picky.
I'm going to have to borrow the sink.
Okay.
Just slide that over to that section. Because I've got to drain this before the pasta overcooks.
Okay.
And get it in that cold water so it doesn't overcook.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Again, fresh is always better.
Yeah. And I've never had pasta like that before, so that was just a win-win.
Like I said, fresh.
Right,
fresh pasta, fresh everything you can.
Yeah. Okay.
There we go. Go ahead.
That's shrimpy. Not that I'm trying to take my sweet ass time. I'm down to detail. Yeah, I can't help it, guys.
There's nothing wrong with being detail-oriented in the kitchen.
I'm OCD, so.
Again, nothing wrong with that. 2 seconds.
Yeah, he's just straining everything out, you guys.
Sorry, I'm straining the pasta, and I would show you, but then I just get pasta water everywhere, and that's not a good thing.
Yeah, but we will definitely show you guys the end product.
Pasta goes in the cold water. Like I said, having a bit of ice water is always going to be better.
Well, let me wash and dry my hands.
Go for it.
That way I can show them.
You are totally good.
Yeah. We've been washing our hands like literally vigorously while we're doing this. May not always hear it or see it, but literally before doing this one, I probably washed my hands like 3-4 times. Him, I'm gonna say 5 or 6. I'm gonna grab the camera real quick, you guys.
Yeah.
Oh shit. His drawer got cooked. Sorry.
Right, so, I mean, I did mix it up, and if you actually stick your hand in this, you can actually feel it's already warm, which is what we don't want.
Yeah.
So I'm going to...
And clip the wiring, not cooked it.
So I'm going to drain this a little bit and put more cold water in it, because we want this to cool down. It's going to reheat back up and cook just a little bit more once we actually throw it in the pan with the oil, the butter, and all the other bits. So we want ice cold water. And I am mixing it up just a little bit so nothing gets stuck together, nothing gets left behind and stuck to overcook. That should probably be okay. And yeah, we're gonna have to wash those bits at some point.
Yeah.
Before we start the other things. So
yeah.
I'm gonna put this back over here. The pasta can sit there, it'll be fine for now. We do have scramps. We got scramps. Alright, so
his old nickname for the shrimps right now.
Alright. So let's see. We're gonna saute the shrimp first instead of the side before we do anything else. So
I know I gotta learn this, so what do I gotta learn?
A little bit of seasoning. We're gonna mix the shrimp up together. A little bit of salt.
Like a pinch or a little bit more?
Hey! Probably 2 pinches.
Okay.
Depending on your fingers. A little bit of garlic. We do have fresh garlic. I don't know
yeah, I was gonna say.
A little bit of white pepper. Like the tiniest bit, because, like I said, white pepper is fairly powerful. Something good. How does your mom feel about cilantro?
I've never heard her complain, especially when it came to the sentiment person that talk.
Okay. So, do a little bit of garlic.
That was the stuff in the processor, guys.
A little bit of garlic.
Let me adjust that action.
No, you're good. We've already already washed off and cleaned the cutting board.
Yeah.
So there hasn't been anything raw on it. I did happen to have fresh cilantro in the fridge because I'm me. And
again, he's a chef, so he likes to be prepared when he cooks.
Use the cutting board.
Is that a handful amount, or what would you say?
Since we're just kind of almost marinating it, but it's like very quick. I'd say maybe a tablespoon, maybe slightly more.
I'm bringing it up just so they can see.
You're good. About a tablespoon, maybe a little bit more. And I'll put this guy back in his bag so I can use him for something else.
I'll put it in the fridge.
Wonderful.
Thank you.
And
I'm still learning myself.
Oh, you're good. Yeah. Yeah, there probably should have been. I'm also using a tiny bit of black pepper, just because different type of pepper, whatever. Probably there should have been a before about all the things we're using, but I'm also really terrible at sticking to the menu or sticking to the recipe.
Well, we're keeping it for real, obviously.
Yes.
We didn't want to bullshit anybody like I just said, so we're going at it as we go. We're trying to explain as we go. I'm not going to sit there. Like, certain things will, obviously, this is what we had to do, this is what we had to do, but we're not going to do a whole video on the process, because no one wants to sit there watching us doing dishes now.
So that was fresh garlic, salt, black pepper, white pepper, cilantro, and then I'm going to use a slight bit of lemon. I'm going to put some lemon juice on here just to get it all together, but then I'm also going to probably be throwing a little bit of lemon juice in while I'm sauteing it. So, let's get my wok heated up properly.
And that huge dish, I can honestly say I've never used. I've never seen it before until today, so I was like, wow.
Woks are wonderful. It doesn't necessarily have to only be for Asian cuisine. They're really great for tossing noodles and vegetables and anything else you want to saute. Very, very helpful. Just in general,
You said you wanted to do garlic for that?
garlic's already in there.
Oh, okay.
So, we're going to take the butter over here. Take a little bit of butter. It's already got oil in it. We're going to saute these scraps.
And actually, that's what he gave me earlier after I decided to eat one garlic clove to help my stomach.
The butter always helps.
I didn't know that.
The same deal with why milk and things like that help with spicy. It will be helpful regardless. So, alright, so we've got this going. It's hot enough that the butter is starting to brown, which is not necessarily a bad thing, because brown butter is a little extra element of flavor.
Good hand washing.
Sorry, I just, between and always in between everything.
Well, that's good though. I know I'm not that advanced.
Let's cook down a minute. Now, in all honesty, I probably jumped the gun, and it'd be better if you let your pan, wok, whatever, heat up a little more. However,
We don't have all the time in the world.
no, it's not even that. It's they're gonna cook down. They are going to let out a little bit of water as they cook. It's gonna be a good thing for what I'm trying to do with this.
Is there any of this in the fridge?
No, that's we need all that.
Okay. Okay. He just walked away real quick, but we'll be right back to help out.
Everyone, no, that.
Oh, you gotta look for something? Oh, okay.
So I have a little bit of white wine.
Well, let me show this.
It's a Chardonnay. You can anything that's semi-dry. You don't want to use anything sweet. You don't want to use a Pinot Grigio or anything along those lines. You want a Chablis or a Chardonnay, something that's going to be a little more dry. What we're going to do is we're going to use the juices that the shrimp let out, and we're going to throw the tiniest bit of red onion in there once the shrimps are done. We're going to pull the shrimp out, put a little bit of garlic, red onion, and let that cook down. And then we're going to hit it with the white wine to deglaze the pan. And it's going to give us, once the alcohol cooks off, a slight bit of a sauce. The slightest bit.
That's something I've been wanting to, so I'm glad I just learned that. Don't ask me to try that yet. Everything be on the floor.
That's like tennis, it's just in the wrist.
I don't do tennis. I've never played tennis.
Neither have I. I was just saying, it's like tennis, it's all in the wrist.
I would need some good practice. That's how I'm learning. That's why you're
Actually,
on the show.
The best and easiest way to practice with that, you've seen those Oreo cookies that are white on one side and black on the other, like vanilla and chocolate?
Yeah.
So you get those. Obviously, you're not going to heat up the pan because that'd be ridiculous. But you put the cookies in, you start with one, and keep on going until you can flip it over. Then you put two in, and you keep going until you can both on the same side. And you keep adding cookies. That's literally how I learned in culinary school.
Oh, nice. Another tip.
Right. That's a whole. Nope, I missed
You
one.
boogie.
It's just one. Well, that one's for you.
Stick it in the bowl. I'm going to try it with everything.
Hold on. Well,
How'd that go?
wonderful.
Well, he liked it. I'm waiting for everything to be marinated. Or mixed in. And he's cutting up more butter now. And adding it. Is that for the pasta now? Or
This is for what will be the sauce. Pasta's going to go into it.
do you need anything else I can help you with?
Yeah, we're golden.
Okay. So I want to learn too, that's why I'm asking.
Understood. Nope, a little more garlic in.
Okay. Well, let me
That's
know
like
when I
what?
can
Like half a teaspoon?
Yeah, that was a small handful.
Again, I eyeball everything.
I mean, like that.
Giving you exact measurements
Yeah. Well, I don't think anybody, unless you're using the cups and all that, is good at measuring.
No.
Even I suck at measuring.
Alright, so we've got that. While we're doing this, how do you feel about slicing up a little bit of basil?
Show me how, no problem.
So, you're going to take several leaves.
Okay.
Now, I want to be like, oh, we're going to chiffonade them. And for anybody who's wondering, chiffonade, where you roll, oh, that's going. Chiffonade is when you layer the leaves and kind of roll them up, and then you really like thin cut them. You take all the leaves, you roll them up, kind of like you would things that are now legal. Not saying the names. And then you just do this.
I get what that means, but don't mind me, you also had me thinking like Japanese and Chinese dishes. And
you missed it already, but
he did cut them while it was in the roll.
This is what you now end up with. Nice and thin, which is what you want. So we'll do that. Alright, so now this is started to cook down. It's not quite browning, it's not quite burnt. We're going to throw a little bit of white wine in there. Alrighty. A little bit.
Yeah.
Tiny bit. We're going to let that cook down.
Well, what can I learn to do? Considering you already took the cutting basil from me.
Well, I mean, we're probably still going to need a little more. So, if you would like, grab a couple of leaves, roll them up like I showed you, cut them down.
How many? Like 2, 3?
Yeah, like 3, 4.
Okay. That one, small one.
You're good. You're good small. Get one big one to roll them all up in. So, what do you got there?
These?
No. 1, 2. Open 3. Put a little guy in there.
Okay.
And then roll them up just like I did. Like nice and tight. Almost like you were rolling up.
I am going to say it in a way like seaweed for a sushi roll.
Sure, that works. That's great.
Yes.
Do that. Roll it like that. And while she's doing that, I'm going to cut up a small amount of fresh parsley. Italian parsley or curly parsley, doesn't matter. Most restaurants use parsley as a garnish, and that's completely fine, but for a dish like this, parsley will actually add just a little bit of freshness
to
the dish.
Even though they're a little thicker?
Oh, that's fine. It's all going to cook down. Okay. You're alright. I just like being fancy pants, despite the fact that I'm not wearing fancy pants. So we've got that. There should be spinach and arugula in the fridge. There's the arugula. Got that?
Yes.
And I swear I put the spinach in here. You might have to go searching for it.
Okay.
I did put it in there, right? We did buy it. No, that's green bean. I know we bought it.
I know, it's going to take a minute. But not very long.
Now, too much longer and we're fucked. So.
I don't see it, actually. Did we pick it up?
No, we did. That's alright. So for right now, I'm going to be throwing the parsley. Probably use a little bit more butter. Slightly. It's in there somewhere, I promise. Either that or it's out in the living room, which I couldn't imagine it being, but maybe.
I will gladly go check. One time, guys.
A little bit more butter, a little bit more oil. I'm going to throw a bunch of extra garlic in here because we want roasted garlic feel to it. And now we've got a roasted onion and shallot feel as well. Garlic.
Alright, so we both made an oops, but we'll make it up in a different video.
We definitely bought the spinach.
I didn't see it up there.
Alright, wash this and make sure it doesn't burn. Wait 2 seconds.
Where's the spinach?
I'm looking at spinach right now. And we bought it.
I don't want it burning, as you said.
Shit, maybe it's sitting in the trunk. It's always possible. Oh, there's a favorite. Throw that in there.
Okay.
You can always, honestly, I can always saute spinach at the dish later because it's not like she's getting this fresh.
Yeah, I am.
Well, you are, but your mom isn't. Yeah. And the basil. Now I'm adding the whole thing. Now I'm adding the fresh parsley, the basil, the arugula, and what would be the spinach, although I'm pretty sure it's sitting in the trunk of my car.
Like I said, we both had a little whoops, but we'll make it up later in a different video.
So I'm going to go ahead and toss this. What's going to happen is all this is going to wilt and kind of saute down. And now we've got roasted garlic, roasted shallot, and oil.
Let me show them.
Right ahead.
There you go, guys.
Now I'm going to drain the noodles.
I have something that's important thing to watch, guys, but because of the fact I can't really have the laptop there while he's doing that for the camera.
And now the noodles go in.
I'm getting hungry looking.
I'm going to toss this and let it cook down a minute because we want the noodles to get just a slight bit crispy, and they're going to be coated in the oil with the roasted shallot, the roasted garlic, and all the other flavors. Definitely need some.
It's okay. Feel good eating.
I'm going to toss a little bit of lemon in here to get the flavor all together. Mm-hmm. Oh, I'm good right now. Go for it.
I can't help it. Stop. I'm hungry.
A little bit of extra salt. Because salt and fat are flavor. Don't kid yourself and tell you that's not what's happening when you go to a restaurant. It's all that. Oil, make sure everything spreads.
I'm gonna wash my hand real quick. I'll scrub my nose. I know it's not appropriate in this case.
You're good? Then we're going to take the shrimp, toss that in. Let everything cook for a minute or two while we toss it. And if you're hearing that sizzly, that's not a bad thing. Remember that I almost lost your pickle.
Huh?
I almost lost your pickle.
No, it's your pickle.
Oh, it's my pickle.
Yeah, it does that.
Oh, maybe I didn't lose it so much as I just almost misplaced it. My pickle jumped out of the fridge.
He just had a huge brain fart as you're seeing him.
The sizzly bits are not a bad thing. You're not necessarily going to overcook the noodles as they've also been sitting in cold water, everything else. Like, they are very soft. They're still semi-al dente, yeah?
Yeah, they're good.
Mm-hmm. They're lovely.
Yes.
But tossing them and frying them in this oil with all these other things to combine all the flavors. So you've got the arugula, which is a slightly peppery, almost bitter, but still really like vibrant flavor. You got the spinach, the parsley, which gives it a little bit of liveliness, the garlic, the shallots, or in our case, red onion.
Yeah.
Salt, pepper, the roasted bits as well. All is going to kind of mix together, and now you've got this. The only thing how does your mom feel about Parmesan cheese?
She likes it.
Because the only thing I can think of that would make this any better is to add, please pardon me, I have a really bad habit of just adding things to recipes as I go. However,
I'm never creative. They know I get creative. You're allowed to get creative. It's my channel. You're a part of it. I'm helping you out.
oh, well, thank you.
You're very
I
welcome.
feel so great about that.
You're very welcome.
No, but for real, little bit of Parmesan cheese. Not a lot. Just like a nice little bit is going to add just a little bit of extra saltiness and, slight bit of cheese.
My goose
It's not a bad thing. The entire country of Italy can't be wrong, right?
No. Considering part of my background is Italian, no.
Well, I mean, you've got fettuccine alfredo with shrimp, so...
No.
Also, I've got 3 different recipes for Alfredo sauce. The original one, and then 2 other really fun ones you can do. So, maybe we'll do those next time.
Yes.
However, pretty sure this dish is done.
And he's asking about my mother because this dish is something she requested. This is considering the sentimental person I was telling you about. She's not the sentimental person, not trying to nab her, but she requested something like this.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. No. Uh-huh. Yep.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, we're gonna get goofy. I don't care. That was good.
And you know what? While that's said and done, I'm gonna let it cool off before I can package it for your mum.
Okay.
See where we're at.
Yeah, we're still working on that stew that's in a huge pot, and he is doing
The thing about soup, stocks, and sauces is that it has to come from a flavorful base. We will be using a roux to thicken this, which is traditionally flour and any sort of fat kind of cooked down. We're going to be using a brown roux, which means we have to cook the fat and the flour longer until it gets this brown color to it, and it's going to get more of a nutty flavor, which is perfect for what we're doing. But in the meantime, a roux will detract from flavor while adding mouthfeel and umami. So any stock you're using with a roux has to be slightly over-flavored, otherwise you're just going to lose everything. And if you're spending hours making a really good stock, you don't want to lose it. That's not bad.
I like
It's not bad.
Mhm.
So, can you taste any mushroom in there?
No,
Mrs. I don't like mushrooms.
I don't like mushrooms. I can't help it. It's a taste, texture, it's everything. I don't like
You
mushrooms.
say it's a taste and whatever, but you can't even tell.
Yeah,
in
but
that
that's a
case,
good thing.
all the rest of the mushrooms.
Hey, a few of you people who I definitely know who have subscribed, no, I won't put a mushroom in my mouth.
Yeah, well, I'm not asking that. I'm asking you to put the mushroom broth in your mouth. And you already did it. So...
Yeah, but I didn't taste it.
Moving on!
But it's the look, the taste, and the texture of the actual thing.
Moving on.
He's thought about my touch just like a few
You're turning me into a bovine.
Blah.
So I think, whenever you're ready, we will come back as soon as we are ready to add the roux to this. Also, the rabbit that I pulled out, would you like to show them?
Actually, yes, I would.
Because this is super fun. Right,
He is
so
grabbing both the rabbits.
this is the rabbit
And
I
again,
pulled
I'm
out.
not trying to offend anybody who's an animal lover.
You
but-
wouldn't notice what it is unless I told you at this point.
Yeah,
It's all
but I'm
falling
just
apart.
saying at the same time, 'cause I know there's animal people that will look, but I'm not trying to offend anybody. I'm just trying to learn, and he's a chef, so let me show you guys this.
So this is, as you can see, it's literally fork tender. It's just falling apart. So the next step is to let this cool and pull all the meat off the bones so nobody chokes on a piece of cartilage or bone. However,
That tastes like chicken, actually.
I told you.
Yeah,
I told you.
that's my first time having this, and I like it.
So we're
Not
gonna,
that I'm going to guarantee I eat it all the time, because it's probably my first time ever in my life.
and it's also slightly expensive.
Yeah.
But it is very good. So we're gonna let that cool. We're gonna pull all that off. And the next time we come back, we're gonna be adding potatoes, daikon radish, the rest of the carrots, some extra onion, and a couple other things to the stock once we know it's soup ready. And we can cook those things down to add extra flavor. Then we're going to strain things out, thicken it up with a roux, and then add all the rabbit meat back to it. so that we actually have a full thickened stew with bits of all different types of vegetables and everything else, and all the rabbit meat. And we'll see you again when we get there.
Stay tuned, though. Thank you.